This has been a busy week for streaming releases. Today we're looking at Ganglands, the new French crime drama that's landed on Netflix. A highly skilled robber and an apprentice thief get involved in a turf war between drug dealers and have to collaborate in order to save their loved ones. So this is one of those crime shows where everything seems to go to crap and it constantly seems like it's 2 steps forward and 4 steps back. Mehdi and Liana, through a series of events, team up in order to find someone they're mutually invested in. In the course of this, they each get more and more tangled in a drama that really has nothing to do with them, but forces them to participate all the same. At times this felt a little like it was a mix of Snap-a-Cash and Gangs of London. But if you've seen Gangs of London, don't go in expecting that level of crazy action. I mean, this has some, but it's just not nearly to that degree. And we have to make a couple of leaps right off the bat in order to buy into this. We have to believe and accept that the string of coincidences that tie these characters together could be plausible. And so once that happens, then we can get on board with the story. I don't think the coincidences are so outlandish that they aren't believable at all, but if you're one of the characters, you gotta be wondering why these things keep happening to you. There are a couple of storylines going on throughout, but thankfully they do all converge and they all relate to each other pretty well. It's not like we're watching wildly separate plots happening and have to worry about how effectively they're going to tie into each other. On one side, we've got a criminal enterprise family that's full of all kinds of dysfunctional drama. There is scheming that takes place in just about every interaction as the players jockey for position to accomplish their individual goals. On another side, you have a drug kingpin who is just a businessman concerned about his organization when you really break it down. I mean, yeah, he's the vengeful and murderous type of businessman, but he's more reactive than anything. I mean, he didn't go searching out these problems. Not that this absolves him of any wrongdoing, though. Then we have Liana and her friends, and they're low-level thugs and just barely that. I mean, they target the wrong person, which then lands them into the trouble that then envelops them in the whole series. And finally, we have Mehdi and his group. Now, these guys are highly skilled thieves who are resourceful, smart, and effective. Now, while there's a lot of players that make up these 4 groups, not all of those players are really the central focus, which also means that they don't get much development, even though we can feel different levels of connectedness to some of them just based on the interactions that we see. I feel that we get some development on Liana, but it's only from when we meet her moving forward. It's not like we get a lot of background on her or any history. We just meet her and then are shown her motivations that guide her actions. For Mehdi, we do get small things here and there of his past, but just not tons. And we can feel some compassion towards him because he's not this cold-blooded killer. He's calculated and focused, but he does what needs to be done. He's got a level of humanity to him and really is only caught up in the entire thing out of necessity. For the family organization that has all kinds of drama, I'm not sure we get enough development to make their internal conflict totally believable, or at least the kind of drama that is fully fleshed out. I think what they deal with, at least from a relational and emotional sense, can be relatable in the fact that you're dealing with a dad named Hassan, his son Saber, and Hassan's niece Sophia, whom he sees as his own daughter. They have inner turmoil that stems from expectations and then disappointment. Now, while we can connect with the players on some level, they're really strangers to us, and when we're supposed to be invested in their outcomes, some of that investment only comes situationally, where because of a story device, we're meant to really care about these characters who are ultimately just very bad people. I think that it's a little manipulative of the story also, that it tries to make the villains vulnerable or worthy of compassion, even though they're the main catalyst for all the problems. I liked the action that takes place in this. There are a lot of gunfights along with some chases that both involve cars and then also via foot. And I think you have to suspend a lot of belief when the gunfights happen because the good guys, they have phenomenal aim, while everybody else absolutely sucks at their ability to hit a target at all. They're still exciting though, and brutal at times. I like all the chess moves that the characters are making. They work off each other and use one against the other, conniving and scheming to accomplish their goal. Now, this first season is 6 episodes, and each of them are about 45 minutes long. And there was a point where I thought the show was wrapping up, but it just continued in the drama. I do think that some of this back and forth got to be a little tiresome because it was almost like a rinse and repeat, where you have the conflict and the resolution just multiplied and spread over each episode. Now, there were a couple of bombshells that are dropped through the series that I didn't see coming, and I thought they were pretty impactful. They were also introduced at the right time to give some good emotional punch. I enjoyed that despite feeling repetitive in spots, these unexpected sequences added an amount of freshness that really helped to renew my interest that might have started to wane just a bit due to just seeing it all done before and repeating. That being said though, once some of the poop hits the fan, there are sequences that do play out pretty obviously. Not everything though, mind you. There were portions that did manage to surprise me and shock me that they were willing to do something for the story. Now, I may not have always liked it, but I was impressed that they took the chance and did some things that could potentially lose the audience. The filming feels immersive as we're brought right along with the action that plays out. And a lot of the time the camera is very close to what's going on, and so that puts us right in the middle of a gunfight or a chase. The editing is quick and works to create an atmosphere that is exciting enough to raise our blood pressure and then suck us into that suspense. So overall, this first season of Ganglands tells a compelling story that is full of drama, deceit, and bloodshed. Now, while the scenarios are a bit repetitive and the story itself is built on a series of convenient coincidences, it still manages to capture attention with the intersecting story arcs. And the characters, while all wildly flawed, do provide some compelling drama, even if it's far-fetched at points. Now, I'm not sure I'm 100% on board with how this first season chose to wrap up, but it does make me intrigued to see where it will lead if it does get a second season. There's sex, maybe some brief nudity, a lot of profanity, and a ton of violence. I give Ganglands 3.5 out of 5 couches. So what's a good crime drama or thriller that you've seen recently? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.